Well, hello and welcome to the 2023 Financial Seminar. I am super excited to be one of the hosts for this conference or this seminar that will be going on all week. We will be streaming live Monday through Friday of this week at 12 o'clock noon. Now, I know that we normally don't stream live on Mondays, but take a moment to like, to share, and let people know that they can get some wonderful information this week on finances. And a lot of times people think that God is not interested in dealing with our finances. But I want you to know, contrary to what many think, God is very concerned about our finances. As a matter of fact, I read something this morning that said that there are over 2,350 verses in the Bible that deal with how to handle money and how to handle possessions. I also read earlier that 15% of Jesus's messages dealt with how to handle our finances, how to handle our possessions. So God has a lot to say about money, and I'm super excited to be bringing our speaker today. But I want to give you two verses from the scriptures so that you'll know that God really is concerned about our finances. Of course, the Bible says in Deuteronomy 8:18, and you shall remember the Lord your God, for it is he who gives you the power to get wealth, that he may establish his covenant as he swore to your fathers, as it is this day. And then you may say, well, that's Old Testament. Well, I thought you would do that. So I have one from the New Testament as well. It says this from 2 Peter chapter 1, verses 3 through 4. As his divine power has given to us all things that pertain to life and godliness through the knowledge of him who has called us by glory and virtue, by which have been given to us exceeding great and precious promises, that through these promises we may be partakers of the divine nature, having escaped the corruption that is in the world through lust. So God is concerned about our finances. I want to say hello to Miss Shirley Miller, to Kathy Griffin Green, to Peggy Spence, to Carolyn Banks, to Elder Theresa Thomas, to all of those who are joining us. I know I missed some. Tamika Bell, God bless you. Good to have you on. Deborah Jackson, it's good to have you joining us on today. And I know I missed a lot of people while I was talking, but I want to say hello and welcome to our 2023 financial seminar. And today's topic is dealing with what's in my pocket. We'll be talking about budget building on today, how to establish and how to maintain a good budget. Joining me now as our first speaker this week is Karen Alford. Karen Alford is a partner of Passage Ministries. She is the sole proprietor and CEO of Alford Business Services. Her professional experience includes a successful 35 plus years with Gainesville Regional Utilities, where she held positions of Director of Business Services, Fuel and Power Systems Operations, Power System Control Manager, Fuel Director, and NERC Compliance Senior Officer. She oversaw $100+ million budget. So she was well over $100 million. And I believe that means that she's qualified to talk to us today about budgeting. She has retired now, but she still remains very active in her community, including volunteering as a financial officer, treasurer, board member, and she also graduated cum laude in business administration, specializing in management from St. Leo University. She also graduated from Santa Fe Community College in business administration. So she's well qualified to talk to us today. So Karen Alford, welcome. We're so glad to have you joining us on today. Thank you so much for joining us and for agreeing to be our first speaker today. So let's get right into our topic today. Karen, I already have one question, and I think it's a great place for us to start today. The question is this: if I don't really have a written budget, where do I start? So that's how I'm going to introduce you and let you go from there. Welcome, Karen Alford.
Thank you, Pastor Judith. It's so good to be with you today. I want to make sure you guys can hear me, see me okay?
We hear and see you.
All right, thank you. And that is an excellent question. I will answer that question in the presentation. So if you would keep that thought, we will cover that information and we'll be happy to expound more if I don't answer the question in totality.
Great. And let me say this as you are watching, as you are tuned in, please know that if you have questions regarding our subject matter on today, you can go ahead and type in those questions. And as we go through or as we get to a point, we will be happy to answer your questions. So it's your time, Karen.
Okay, and thank you again. I am so glad that you all are taking time on this afternoon to really look at budgeting. I will say personally that I have used the budget for over 40 years and it has worked for me. So I will be sharing information that I feel is practical information. You can read a lot of books, you can look at these rich experts that tell you how to do it. But if you want just an everyday person that went to work just like you guys did. I'm retired now, thank you, Lord. But I really believe in these methods and they have worked, they've been tried, they're proven. And so I think you would really have fun with budgeting if you use more of the practical approach that I'm going to share with you today. I do have a presentation, so I am going to share my screen so that you can see a copy of the presentation. Please let me know if you have any problems viewing. Okay, are we good?
I don't see it yet. Okay, it's there. We're ready.
Wonderful. Okay. All right. So again, welcome to our financial checkup seminar. And I know that you guys, as Pastor has shared, you're going to be hearing a lot of great information today and for the rest of the week. Just a moment while we get set here. I'm supposed to be sharing this. Okay. All right. Are we good?
We're good.
Okay. All right. So our subject today is what's in my pocket. And we're going to be talking about building your budget. And I like the word your because this is something that you will own. This is something that basically you will take, you will customize it so that it fits your lifestyle, so that it fits your budget, so that it works for you. Using someone else's template is good, but making your own, building your own budget, I think would be a plus and you will take ownership of it. Okay, so what we'll cover today, we're going to talk about a successful budget. It's no fun to have a budget that's not successful. You're still feeling a lot of stress trying to do your budget. So we want to make sure that your budget is successful. We're going to do a self-evaluation, and this will be an opportunity for you to answer some questions, for you to look at how this is working for me. What am I doing now that I can change later? So we want to do a financial checkup for you. Next, we'll look at some budgeting terms. We'll also look at why budget? Why do a budget? Why is it necessary? And then we'll look at how to budget. And I think that question will probably be answered on this slide, how to budget. We're also going to talk about getting started. So that question was very good. And then we're just going to look at budgeting mistakes. What kind of mistakes have I made trying to do my budget if I've done it in the past? And then we'll look at a budget template. And I really want to save time for the template. So I'm going to be moving along at a pretty good pace so that I don't keep you too long today. So just please ask me to slow down if I get too fast. Okay, goals for this session. By changing the way you think, you can set yourself up for success. I know that money can be a stressful thing, but you can be successful with your money. The Lord blessed me that I was able to retire over 8 years ago, and I was able to make a budget and pretty much live by that budget so I can maintain my lifestyle even after I retired on a lesser salary. We want you to be able to make informed decisions about your hard earned money. No one wants to bring home a paycheck and then you look at it at the end of the week and all your money is gone. You have nothing to enjoy, nothing to account for. So we want you to be able to make informed decisions about your hard earned money. Also, a goal is to know what's in your pocket, know what's in your bank account. Um, just making debit charges and writing checks without a balance is not the smartest thing to do. So we want you to know what's in your pocket. Also, control your money so that it doesn't control you.
That's good.
Yeah. One of the things I also like to do, and I share this with my children and my grandchildren, is plan your work and work your plan. Always have a plan, and we want you to work your plan. So that all is part of budgeting. Also, we want you to realize that budgeting is easy, it's necessary, and it's valuable. We want you to see the value in budgeting. Okay, so what are the requirements for a successful budget? Um, we want to we'll basically assume that you have a biblical understanding of the importance of giving to your ministry. I know that Pastor Matthews, he talks a lot about giving, and Pastor Judith, she's actually teaching a series right now on your mindset holds the key in 2023. And it's about changing your mindset for success. And so I certainly recommend you go back and listen to those messages. Very good about the understanding the importance of giving and change of mindset. We want you to have a realistic and flexible budget. So if the budget doesn't fit your lifestyle and you're just doing this for the practice of saying I have a budget, you're not going to stick with it. So that's something that we want you to do, is be realistic. It's good to incorporate long and short-term goals. If you are interested in buying a car in a year, you should be planning for that now. So we're going to talk about some tools to help you plan for your long-term goals like retirement, or your short-term goals, or both. We also want to be good stewards of the resources that God has blessed us with. This is so necessary. There's a scripture in Proverbs 3:9 that says, honor the Lord with thy substance and with the first fruits of thine increase. And 10 says, so shall thy barns be filled with plenty, and thy presses shall burst out with new wine. So we want you to keep these scriptures in mind as we go along. I thought I would throw in this quote by Emeritus President Barack Obama. He says, a budget is more than just a series of numbers on a page. It is an embodiment of our values. So
That's
typically,
good.
if you look at someone's budget, you can pretty much tell the things that they value, the things that they're willing to spend their money on. And then there's another quote I'd like to share by Pastor George Matthews. He said this in a recent Word of the Day message. He said, how you handle your seed, talking about money here, dictates how much increase God can get to you. How much you handle your seed dictates how much increase God can get to you. So we want you to keep those things in mind as we move along in these presentations. I believe in planting seed in your local church, in your local ministries, and to other ministries as well. Now, this is an opportunity for you to answer these questions. Be honest with yourself. I'm not going to put you on the spot. So you're only dealing with yourself for these questions. And they're true and false, and then there's one multiple choice. So our first question is, I currently budget faithfully. Keyword faithfully.
True.
So Pastor Judith is going to answer these questions for us. All right. So she says true. Make sure that you're answering and being honest with yourself. All right. I make major spending decisions based on, this is the multiple choice, what I want. I buy because I deserve it. B is, I will find a way to pay for what I want, regardless of the cost. And then C is, I make informed purchasing decisions and create a plan to finance my wants. So, how would you answer that question?
C is the right answer.
C is definitely the right answer. We want,
Sometimes I do A though.
I think we all do A at some point. But the point is to not make that a way of life, to not make that
Right.
your standard, because you should be making informed purchasing decisions and then creating a plan to finance your wants. Now, there are times when you walk in the store, there's this item that you've been wanting and wanting, and you've been watching it, and then it finally goes on sale, 60% off or something. I understand wanting to make that purchase because it's something that you waited for. You feel that you can afford it, so you're going to buy it while it's on sale. So there are going to be those kinds of decisions. But again, the standard is we want you to make informed purchasing decisions and then create a plan to support those wants. All right, budgeting is too detailed and it takes too much time.
False.
Okay, I agree. It is false. And if you keep up with it, if you manage it, the details are not bad. And the time, because there's so many tools out there that you can use, apps, spreadsheets, it doesn't take a whole lot of time. All right, next question on our financial checkup. I spend all the money I bring home.
Definitely false.
Hopefully, everyone has a false on that one. Do I have money or do I just look like I have money? Do I have money in your banking account or do I just look like I have money? The point behind this is a lot of times people spend a whole lot of money on clothing, on jewelry, on hair, but then they're walking around looking this way, but when it comes to their banking account, they really don't have a lot to account for. So do I have money? I'm not sure what just happened. Do I have money or do I just look like I have money? Sorry about that. Technology is good, but sometimes, okay. So the example I like to use here as well, you see this purse that you want, $300 purse, and you buy it. This is not a gift, but you go out and buy that purse. And on that Sunday, you're so excited about taking that purse to your church so that everyone can see it. And then when it's time for giving, you may put in $100, you may put in $50 because you don't have much money left in your account. Well, that's when I say, do you ask the question, do I have money or do I just look like I have money?
Right.
Because to me, giving should be the top of the list. That should be minimum 10% and above. So I shouldn't be carrying a $300 purse if I'm only putting in $50 or $100 or even less than that in the offering plate. Just something to think about.
Now, Karen, there's a question that I'd like for you to answer because I think the term you're speaking of is relative to where you are. But I see one of the questions says, what is a lot of money?
I think that question is subjective, but
Mhm.
I would define a lot of money, and we'll get to that. But a lot of money is having money that you can support your expenses, you can support your lifestyle, and then you have money in the bank to save or invest. So to me, money in abundance is when you can meet all of your needs, and then you have some left over to save as well as invest. And I'm including giving as part of that expense.
Right,
It's
or being a
essential.
blessing in the lives of other people.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. Okay. The last one is I have at least $1,000 in my savings account. And that might not seem like much money to you, but how many people we probably are around every day that don't have at least $1,000 in their savings account? Or, and when I say savings account, maybe you or have investments or long-term retirement savings, any of that where it's not readily available and you're spending that as part of your monthly operating budget.
Yeah, I don't have the stat, Karen, but I've shared that before. You would really be amazed. It's something like 60, 70, 80%, maybe even higher than that. It's a very small percentage of people that actually have $1,000 in a savings account that is not their operating fund. You would be amazed. I mean, it's a very small percentage of people, even people that make, 100,000, 200,000, $300,000 a year, they still live paycheck to paycheck.
Yes, it's really amazing. And,
Hmm.
there are times when all of us go through tough times. Um, you know, Things are on the rise as far as cost. But again, that should not be our goal. That should not be the way that we live every day.
Right.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about some common terms quickly here. Okay. When we talk about income, so we're talking about your net income. As you know, when you get your check, it's a whole lot more. You may be making $10,000, but you might be bringing home 8,000 because of various deductions, like your health insurance or your IRS deductions, Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security. Anyway, there are a lot of deductions, but we're talking about the money that you're going to budget is the money that you're bringing home in your check. Okay, and this is the money that you have to work with, the money you have to manage. Your discretionary income is going to be the money you have to spend after paying your necessary expenses. So we're talking about expenses like your mortgage, your rent, your utilities, your groceries. That's um, the money after you take out those things is your discretionary income, meaning you have some discretion, some decision making of how you spend that money. Expenses, your financial obligations, plus your discretionary spending. So all of us have expenses. I don't think there's anyone on here that don't have some expenses. There are fixed expenses. These are expenses that are consistent from one month to the other, like your car payment, your mortgage payment. Typically, those are going to be a set amount. Your variable expenses, they can vary based on usage and price fluctuations, like your utilities, based on how much energy you use. The gasoline for your car, prices can change. So those are your variable expenses. Okay, so here is the question of the hour. Why should I budget? Well, budgeting provides an overview of how you plan to spend your money. It's a financial plan to improve the accountability of your money. Have you ever sat at the end of the week and you go, where did all the money go? I've, I've worked hard and I don't feel like I have money still. So a financial plan helps to improve the accountability. You can look on that paper and see where your money went. Again, we talked about informed decisions. It helps you make informed decisions on your purchases. It helps you achieve your financial goals. Also, it's a great way to manage expenses and understand your spending habits. Okay, I think this question came up. How do I get started?
Right.
First, I would suggest you plan and organize. You think about your approach to budgeting. Always pray in all thy ways, acknowledge Him, and He will direct your path. I believe in that. Um, so after you've prayed, after you're ready to get started, you have a mindset change, Pastor Judith.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, so you're going to select a method or a template that you will use to create your budget. Now, there are a lot of apps to do your budget. I can say personally, my husband, Otto, he used a piece of paper to budget us for over 30 years. and he was faithful at it, and it worked. It kept us accountable for our expenses. Um, I don't recommend the paper and pen method because there are better tools out there. I use a spreadsheet, which I'm going to share that template with you. A spreadsheet, when you make a decision, it shows you the immediate results of your decision. It's better tracking. You can edit it. So I definitely recommend spreadsheet. I use Google Spreadsheets because it's free. So I like to save money. So I'm using Google Spreadsheets. You can use Microsoft Excel, which is comparable. But actually, I think Google Spreadsheet is a little more comparable um, than, it's easier to use than Microsoft Excel. All right, so you want to gather all of your financial information, your bills, your commitment, all of your expenses. You want to have that information readily available on the table on your desk so that you can reference that information. Have available your current balances. Know what's in your checkbook. Know what's in your savings. Know what's in your investments. Okay, then you want to analyze, and I would say analyst by trade. So I was a manager for many years, but I am highly analytical. So I do like to analyze things, and I think I raised two children that like to do the same thing. Okay, so you want to have your exact paycheck details. You know, your gross, your net income, your deduction. Be aware of that information. Also have your long and short-term goals readily available. Again, I use the example of buying a new car. You want to buy a new car, we need to plan for that. How am I doing on time, Judith?
We're at 27 minutes, so we probably need to pick up the speed just just a little bit. We will go over. Our goal was 30 to 45 minutes, so you're good. I do want to give people time to ask questions. So
Okay, great. Well, we're almost to the point of sharing a template. Okay, so a few things to remember. Be committed. Just do it. You know, you say you're ready for this, you're going to do it. You have a mindset change. So be committed to your budget. Budget for adjustments. You have to actively manage it because there will be times where your budget is going to change. We all know that. You have to be honest to yourself. If I don't have enough money to cover my budget, either I'm going to have to increase my income or I'm going to have to reduce my expenses, or probably both. Not dealing with a deficit will not make it go away. Some people just tend to ignore that. Um, some people balance their budget with a credit card, which I do not recommend. Um, there was an example. I don't know if I have it on this page. Maybe I'll cover that later. But anyway, just if you're planning to retire, if that's a long-term goal, the financial experts are recommending that if you make, say, $100,000 annually, you need $1 million for your retirement savings. That's a lot of money. If you're 30, 40, 50, 60 years old and you got to save $1 million, that's a lot of money. So that's why we need to really, really be serious about budgeting so that you can live a comfortable lifestyle later. All right, leave some wiggle room in your budget. You know, there are going to be these things that you do buy impulsively, or, you know, you may want to see something that you really like, or again, that's on sale. You want to leave a little wiggle room so that you feel good about yourself and feel good about going to work every day. Okay, 4 things that are required for sticking with your budget. I mentioned commitment. It takes discipline, not buying everything you want, not spending every dollar, but discipline. It takes consistency. It takes persistence. You have to stick with it. Now, there's some financial experts that say you need 50% for needs, you need 30% for your wants, which is that discretionary spending, and then 20% for savings and investments. That's a good rule to follow, but customize that to what you can do. Start small and do what you can do. There are 3 S's for money that I want you to remember. Sow some, that means sow to the kingdom. Spend some, because everybody, you go out and make all this money, you want to spend some. And then save some. So those are the 3 S's. Sow some, spend some, and save some. All right. Okay, couple of budgeting mistakes. If you don't have a budget, you're blindly spending. Again, plan your work your plan. Making a decision without knowing where your finances are, not a smart thing to do. Having an inaccurate budget can be misleading. So you want to have a budget that reflects your lifestyle. If that budget can't support your lifestyle, obviously we need to do what? Modify
Change
our
your
life.
lifestyle.
Yes, ma'am. All right. Failure to manage cash flow. A lot of times people don't think about cash flow. If you get paid once a month and your bills are coming every week, you need to plan how you're going to pay your bills with the current cash flow. So your budget should coincide with how you're getting paid. If you're getting paid twice a week, know what bills you need to pay the first out of the first check or the second check, or maybe half and half out of either check. So again, pay attention to how your cash is coming in and how it needs to go out. Do not, again, I mentioned this earlier, do not plan for a credit card to balance your budget. So there is an example, okay, if you have $5,000 on a credit card, you have an interest rate of 18%, and you pay $100 a month on that credit card, it would take you 7 years and 10 months to pay the balance of that credit card. And the interest that you would pay is over $4,000. That's just what you're paying to use the convenience of a credit card.
That's good.
Yeah. So please remember that when you pull, I think all of us have credit cards for convenience, and maybe you can't pay the whole thing off in 1 month or every month, but pay as much as you can. Don't pay the minimum balance because it will take you years and years and years to pay off that debt. Okay. All right. Just before I go into template, a few reference materials. Pastor Judith has been teaching on Mindset is the Key in 2023, and I would encourage you to go back and listen to those Word of the Day messages. They've been very good, just for practical living, just changing your mindset. I just really enjoyed it and gotten a lot out of it. Pastor Matthews has always taught, he also taught a message on nevertheless, the key to more than enough and situation reversal. So again, if you go back and listen to these messages, I think you would get a lot out of those messages. Pastor Creflo Dollar, Pastor Judith, this is a great time to be talking about this because he's been teaching on Spirit of Mammon.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been really good. I have to finish listening to today's. I ran out of time, but it's been really, really good and eye-opening. So I would certainly recommend that you would engage in those messages. And also on the internet, there is so much research. Again, I recommend using the research sources that are reputable. Your credit unions, your banks, they have a lot of information about financial fitness. On YouTube, there's a lot of information. You don't want to pick up just any old material and follow that material. Some people listen to Dave Ramsey. He has a lot of good information on budgeting, on financial planning. So do your research, have fun with it. But when you hear that research, take it and customize it to your situation. Okay. All right, so now I think we're ready to look at our budget template. Are you all able to see the budget template okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, so this is Google Sheets. All right, the first thing in our budget template is you want to put in your income. Okay, this assumes that there are 2 incomes in the household, but if you only have one, of course, you're just going to put in your salary, whatever your bring-home pay is. Okay, so I've added the 2 salaries together, and we're making $8,500 a month. All right. So you will notice here that the first line item in my budget is my tithing, my offering, my giving, however you refer to it, is your giving offering. Okay, and that is it's 10% of my salary at a minimum, and then I'm going to have a $200 offering. So that's the $1,050 that you're looking at.
We need to see. I saw it come up and it said budget template. And I thought it was coming after that, but it didn't pop up. And I'm getting notices online that the template is not showing. There we go.
It's there.
So
Okay, great. Sorry
can
about
you
that.
increase it?
I have my 100%. Let's see. How's that?
That's better. Yeah, but we see it now. Yeah,
Okay.
I hear they're saying we can see it now, so we're
Okay.
good.
Wonderful. Okay. So the next thing is your mortgage. Most of us have mortgages. We have house payments. We have some type of rent. So I budgeted out $1,800 for that. And then there's your utilities, your electric, your gas. I budgeted $400. So as you can see, I'm going right down the list here. My car payment, my cable, my cell phone, security system, life insurance, credit card payment, storage, childcare if it's applicable to you, gasoline, groceries, which you have to continue increasing that one now because groceries are going up so much. Medical expense for like maybe copays, um, savings. Okay, so my total expenses are how much is that, Pastor Judith? Can you see that?
7,500.
$7,500. Okay, and my budget, my income was $8,500. I also, let me point out, I've included a miscellaneous expense in here. I got my savings in here. My miscellaneous expense is like miscellaneous things that you want to do. Your gym memberships, subscriptions, whatever might come up that you didn't budget for. I think it's a good idea to have a miscellaneous expense category. All right. So we like to pay ourselves. So we get an allowance, which is good for you to set aside an amount. If you just say, you spend out of your budget, I don't recommend it. Give yourself an allowance. That's my money to do what I want to do with it. Okay. That way you feel good again about getting up, going to work every day because you're getting something from the money that you're working for. So our allowance is $500 a piece. So our total payout is $8,500. The balance left from my check is zero. I like zero-based budgeting. My miscellaneous expense, if you have money left over, you can put it in that category. So at least you're categorizing everything. All right. And you have your wiggle room in here as well. Are there any questions on that, Pastor Matthews?
No, I think for some people, those numbers are very high. And so, I may be operating out of $500 a month or $1,000 a month. So what you just showed me, it seems absolutely beyond, me to even think about because I'm not there. But I just want people to understand one of the things I heard you say was to start where you are. And I think sometimes we don't take the time to try to establish a budget because we think that it is already too tight. But the way to get out of that is to really start sitting down, analyzing, as you said, and you put yourself on some sort of budget. You cannot live without knowing where your money is going. You didn't touch on this, I'm sure, due to time, but one of the things I always tell people when I've done budgeting classes in the past is you have to watch how much you're eating out, that excess money that you're spending in grabbing lunch every day, grabbing dinner out every day. Those things cut into and eat up your budget so quickly. So you have to sit down and you have to decide with the $1,000 that I have, what is the best method for me to deal with those things in my budget. And so I don't want them to be thrown off by those numbers that you're using in your template, Karen.
Well, I actually thought I was being reasonable, but
No, ma'am. No, I think for some people those numbers were really, really high. You have people that live on a fixed income that, maybe maybe $1,000, maybe $1,500. So, some people are not starting from, $8,500 for the month. So I just wanted them to know that. Now, I see a question. Is it incorrect to know how much your household requires per month?
can you repeat that?
is it incorrect to know how much your household requires per month?
I don't think it's incorrect. I think you need to know how much your household requires every month. You need to know what money is coming in. Hopefully, there's a trust between the spouses, or even if you do things separately. We always kind of put our monies together and we pay the bills out of one pot, and then we have our allowances and things in a separate account. But if you budget separately in your household, at least agree on what you're going to put towards the monthly expenses, or who's going to pay what bill. People do things differently, and I realize that, but you have to have the knowledge. You have to be upfront and know what things are going out of the household, what's coming into the household.
I agree with that. I think even if you decide now, I'm with you, Karen. I advocate bringing those expenses together. You'll be amazed. I want to share real quickly. When Pastor and I got married, we did our bills separately. He had his bills, I had my bills. We had our accounts going, and things stayed out of whack. We were. It seems like we were making money, but it was all going out the door, and we were having people call because things weren't paid on time. And the Lord gave me a budget for our family. I prayed about it, and He gave me a budget for our family. And I remember taking it and put it on Pastor's desk. He didn't even want to look at it because he believed that men are supposed to be in control of the budget and in control of the finances. But I was coming from a background where I never had people call me about a bill not being paid on time. So I was kind of freaking out, that we were not paying things in a timely manner. When the Lord gave me this budget of combining our incomes and paying on a budget, things began to, Pastor couldn't even believe it. Once we put it on paper, he could not believe that we actually had that much money coming in. And if we did this, how everything could be paid on time, before time, and how we could actually come out of debt. And you all have heard our story of how we went from being in that situation to making 2 payments and three mortgage payments in 1 month. We went from having 18 credit card bills, getting rid of all of that debt. You work the system, as I heard you say, and it is possible, but you got to start somewhere. The other thing I want to say real quickly, Karen, I heard you sharing, one of the things I've been telling our children and now grandchildren, start somewhere with savings. $25 a month does not sound like a lot of money, but in reality, if you just keep putting $25 a month, setting it aside, that $25 becomes hundreds, the hundreds become thousands, and you will be amazed at how much money you will have in the bank. But it's starting somewhere.
Starting somewhere. My daughter and I just had this discussion the other day, and I was saying towards retirement, just putting $25 out of your paycheck that you're not going to miss. I mean, I just ran a calculation based on spending $5 3 times a week at Starbucks, just 3 times a week. If you do that at the end of the year, you have spent almost $800. So
Yeah,
just by making your own cup of coffee, you can save a lot more money and put that money in the bank in your savings or towards investments or, something more positive.
I have my Starbucks today, so I'm guilty.
Well,
I enjoy the.
like I said, everybody has an allowance. You can do things to treat yourself. Everybody wants to do that. But I think the important thing is start small, make sure that it's affordable, make sure that your budget can support it, and you're hitting all those major categories of sewing, paying your expenses, spending some, and you're also saving some money.
Yeah. I think if
So
you
I'm
go
sorry.
ahead.
And I just want to make sure too that this template, Pastor Judith, and we can figure out how to do that. I will make available a template so that people can take away and start. I will be glad to work with anybody, that say, hey, can you give me some more tips personally? I'm not a financial expert, but I am someone that believes in managing finances, and I've done it for many years. When I retired, basically, I modified our budget so that we could start living on that budget before our pay income was reduced. So that's my thing, is be proactive. Don't be reactive. Go, oh, Lord, have mercy. I got all these bills. I got this payment due. You robbing Peter to pay Paul. Be proactive and plan. And I guarantee you, if you do that, you will see an improvement. Just one more thing, and I know we're running out of time. And this template, if you see the things in red, those were intended. If you made a modification in your budget, the way this budget works, it will show you the impact of that decision. Where this 200 is, if I put in, I spent 500 there, it's going to immediately show you the impact of that decision. Bottom line, I'm down $300. How am I going to make that up? It's January, but I see that I did that back. I'm planning to do that in April. So how am I going to finance that change in my budget? So this is why I like the spreadsheet, because it comes alive. You can make it your own plan and see the impact way down the road. My budget is already done through December. So I know the impact of those decisions that I make now, how they're going to impact me for the year. So I think that's it. Thank you so much for listening. I pray that you all got something great out of it. And I pray that you will feel the need to start somewhere, start a budget, start small. And I know that you will feel much better about your finances. I don't know if we have time for questions, but I'm certainly here as long as you need me to be.
Well, we're actually at our 46-minute mark. I'm going to say this: if you have questions, you can certainly type in those questions. We will be more than happy. Well, I'm getting a cue from our production team that said go ahead and take some questions. So if you do have a question, you can go ahead and type it in really quickly for us. But please make sure that you join us on tomorrow. Tomorrow is a different topic and a different speaker every day. There is a different speaker that is qualified in that area. And so we want to thank you, Karen Alford, for joining us on today. But get ready for tomorrow. I do have a few minutes. I want to let you know that for those of you who are doing in person, and even if you're joining us online, we've got some great material. One of the books that we'll have available on Sunday, this book says Think and Grow Rich. Think and Grow Rich. This will be available at our bookstores, or you can write us, you can call us and let us know you want to get one. This book is really good. It's she's known as the Budgetista, and it's 10 simple steps to becoming financially whole. Get good with money. This is another good book that will be available in our bookstores. And I've got one more book, and we do have some confessions that you'll be able to get as well. This is Who, Not How. This is the formula to achieve bigger goals through accelerating teamwork. So this is just a few of the books, but we have several books that will be available through the bookstore. You can call the ministry. We'll get your information so that we can get this material to you. They are at a cost. It's not free, but they will also be available in our bookstore. The bookstore will be in the lobby area on next Sunday. And then if you're at CRCC, you can do the same thing. Stop by the information center. Let us know what you want, and we will make sure to get that information to you all. So again, Karen Alford, thank you so much for joining us on today. Real quickly, if you've got any questions, go ahead and ask me before we sign off. But excellent job today, Karen. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing that wealth of knowledge. I am all behind doing a budget. I know we're living witnesses that they work. And so it doesn't matter how little or how much money you make, you need a budget. A budget helps you identify where you're spending your money, how much you have coming in, and what you're doing with that money. So thank you so much.
And thank you for our viewers. And remember, plan your work and work your plan.
Thank you so much. That was a really, really good quote. And thank you for including Pastor Matthews in that as well. Pastor did share with us, he did find that stat where it says only 69% of Americans have at least $1,000 in the bank. So thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that, Karen. And listen, you don't want to miss tomorrow. We'll be talking about Am I Covered? That's going to deal with insurance, what type of insurance you need. We'll be talking about health insurance. We'll be talking about life insurance. We'll be talking about the various insurances that are out there, whether you've got the proper insurance, really to make it, because things happen and sometimes we're underinsured. So you want to join us on tomorrow. It's going to be great. Thank you again. And thank you to our production team. Yes.
Yeah, I did see one question.
Okay.
That basically they were saying when you start your spreadsheet with your household.
Household monthly amount.
Right.
Yeah, that question went by. Production team, can you help me with that question? I can't read it anymore.
Okay, I think the point is
There it is.
you start with the
It's
amount
on
that
the
you
screen.
need. Yeah, and so I recommend starting where you are because you need to know where you are before you know where you can go. And then maybe copy that spreadsheet over and then look at how much you need. Your expenses basically are going to tell you how much income you need, but you have to start with what is coming in currently, what you're starting with. Know where you are before you know where you want to go. And I'll be glad to talk a little more offline about that as well if you want to reach out to me.
Okay. Well, that person says got it. So thank you so much. We're signing off. We're excited. Day one was awesome. Thank you, Karen. So welcome again for our 2023 virtual financial seminar. Tomorrow, please make sure you join us. Am I covered? We love you guys. Have a great rest of the day, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Later. Thank you.